We'll call the regular meeting of the Charles City Board of Education to order and have roll call, please.
Walker.
Here.
Dyke.
Here.
Freund. Here. Mack.
Here.
Maycumber.
Here.
Connect. Absent.
We'll have the reading of the district mission statement by Director Freund.
In everything we do, we aim to maximize. Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Where am I?
Oh, you're good right there by
Right
the.
below it.
Right here?
Oh.
No.
Right.
In bold.
There you go.
Oh,
There you
okay,
go.
thank
Got
you.
it.
Our mission is to engage, inspire, and empower students and staff in order to maximize learning.
Perfect. Agenda item 3 will be approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections?
Yeah, there's an addition, adding Dave Williams as a middle school wrestling coach under appointments. And number 8, the Success Center presentation, would ask that that be tabled. Not all members could be here tonight, so they'll come back in December.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve as corrected?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as corrected.
I'll second it.
Motion is second to approve the agenda as corrected. Roll call vote, please.
Freund.
Yes.
Mack.
Yes.
Maycumber.
Yes.
Dyke.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 4 is the welcome visitors for public comment. Are there any comments tonight from the public? Seeing none, we will move on to comments by board members and the superintendent. Dr. Cox.
I want to congratulate Amanda Miller, our girls cross-country coach. She was named one of 4 at-large coaches of the year in Class 3A. And also wanted to share that our Iowa Big North students had an opportunity to go down to the Greater Des Moines Partnership Excellence in Education Summit last Wednesday. And extemporaneously, Theo Arndt was pulled out of the audience to come up and give some comment from a student perspective, along with a student from New Hampton, Wes Wegman, and they both did a fantastic job. Theo also then got to stay and meet with the governor with about 8 other students a couple hours after that. So good event for our students to be in a real business setting and interact with the adults and kind of share what they've been learning in this unique business and school partnership.
Excellent. Any additional comments by board members?
Play, since
Play
we've
was-
been together. The Addams family, outstanding. Great job. Boy, that was entertaining. Almost went the second night also, if family would have left soon enough. My visitors. And also the food good, food good meal. Very good, really good food. I put on Facebook that on that Friday night, I had the best food in Iowa and the best entertainment right here in Charles City by far.
Awesome. Awesome. Anything additional? Excellent. Move on to committee reports. Start with buildings and grounds. We haven't formally met since the last meeting, but there are a few updates in here to summer projects that we had approved last time, so that's kind of where we're at with those things. So, communications, public relations. You guys met?
We did meet last week and got some good information from Justin about what we can and what we cannot say publicly as this project goes on. And I think there's been a citizens group formed. Okay. And they're moving forward with their process.
Awesome. Excellent. Finance.
We've met and had conversation about projected balances in Pebble and the sales tax accounts and a couple of other things. And as we move forward through the project, we'll be meeting again to finalize some of that information and bring it to the board, as well as waiting on the activities director for the new sports complex information.
Excellent. Negotiations and compensation, and you guys probably haven't.
Nothing yet on that.
Yeah. And policy committee, you guys probably haven't met.
We haven't met.
Good.
No.
County Commerce Board, SIAC, Dr. Cox.
We met tonight. We had 9 members, and we did both food service input, which is one of the things that's required of us since we have an outside provider who's running our food service program. We also took a trip to the high school to look at the tiny house project and some of the redesigned learning spaces that we have put in place in the center circle and the ag shop, the furniture has come into the center circle and really has transformed what that looks like. So we will meet again in January.
Excellent. Agenda item 7, the job shadowing report. So I'll start, and I'll say that I probably hit the jackpot in my opinion, and I assume you all had great experiences too, but it happened to be that the day I picked to, or that worked for me to observe the orchestra was the day that we had Concordia College, is that correct? Was also there that day to give a kind of a quick concert during the middle of the day, but the whole first period that I stayed there and watched, the college kids basically just dispersed themselves with the high school kids. The college director led the class for the morning session, and so I got my own kind of private concert from the college kids and high school kids for the first full 4. It was phenomenal.
Is that what this deal is actually supposed to be? Like the entertainment? Like
It was very good entertainment. Yeah, so like I said, I hit a home run on that deal. Just to see the passion from Ms. Ryan with all the stuff that she's doing there. I look back at my experiences growing up and the opportunities I had. I don't know of any other towns near my community where I grew up that had orchestra as a whatever. So for us to be able to offer that, and the number of kids that take advantage of that offering in our high school just blew me away. And being first period, I was there early, around 8 o'clock, a little before 8 o'clock. There was a number of kids already in there, practicing, doing stuff. So she's really got a great program going there, and really moving things in a good direction. And helped me with the gentleman's name, the retired director that was that comes in and helps. Gene Martin. Yes, Gene Martin was there, and to see community members like that, retired staff come back and help was just an awesome thing to see going on in our buildings. I doubled up a little bit, and I was lucky enough there to be on Friday when the success, how do you term that, Larry? What's the success program, success
Center.
Success Assembly, yeah, there it was. So all of the students gathered in the gym, went through all of the accomplishments of everyone involved in any activities throughout the fall season, and also the awards for homerooms with the highest GPAs and attendance and different things. So it was really awesome to be there and be able to witness that stuff too. So anyway, next, Scott.
Well, I was negligent in my duties. Evidently, I wasn't here when we drew these, and if I knew that you gave me one, I forgot. So I will make it up and go visit 712 FCS.
You're going to double up this month.
I'll double up this month, yeah.
Excellent. Missy.
I visited Naomi Gadoff, and I first visited her coding class. It was an 8th grade coding class. And it took me a little bit to find them because they don't actually have a classroom. They were in the meadows upstairs. So she came and got me from the high school office and walked me over there. But it was neat to see how well these kids worked on their own. It was a small group, I think. What did I say? About 8 to 10 students, and I think she's got about 40 students total between 7th and 8th grade and the high school classes, from what she said. But a wide range of abilities. So there were some kids who worked really far ahead, and then if others needed help, they would kind of come over and help them, which was nice. She acknowledged that was helpful for her because just if there's one student who's got a problem, that might take up her whole focus for the class period. So, but definitely not something that I'm familiar with, coding. That's not my thing at all. So trying to follow what they were doing, they were creating I think it was like a game kind of, but just interesting to watch how they did that. So not something I was ever exposed to in school. So yeah, I thought that was neat. And then I went back the following Friday just to view the library. And it was during the book fair week, so there were a lot of kids coming in. It was also testing week, so Naomi actually had to excuse herself. They had someone else there to watch the library while she was at testing. But a lot of kids coming in and out and checking things out. And so,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Excellent. Josh.
And I had the opportunity to meet Ann Haynes, who is one of our teacher leaders. And I got to meet 2 other teacher leaders at the time, and it was very interesting to understand how the program works and how it's been successful and how it's been moving along. I believe we're in the 2nd year of that. Seems like it's a very, very exciting program. I learned a great deal about Smart Lunch, which I didn't know anything about, which I think is fabulous to help students along, and it also incorporates technology, which I really think is awesome, into making sure the students are keeping up to date with their work and making sure they're following their teachers. It's just a great, great opportunity for the students and teachers to interact. Really exciting, and just really exciting time. So really enjoyed it. It was very informational.
Awesome. Robin?
I had Sarah Downey went into one of her classes. She has several to choose from. I made it there during American History, which I thought was a bit of dose of karma, because it's the only class I ever flunked in my whole entire high school career. And there I was. It was interesting. I probably should take it again. I might pay more attention now. I find it more fascinating. They broke up into small groups, and they were actually role-playing each one a part of different of groups that were going on at that time, and they discussed how to bring someone from that group into understanding what they were trying to do, and everybody had their own agenda, of course, and it was they had gone also, they went into the study hall area and kind of used that, got out of their little piece of pie classroom and went over to the study hall area. And the furniture wasn't there yet, but kind of one of the group did take advantage of the little areas that we have sectioned off over there and sat over in that area, because they all were stationed around the room, and with some role playing that was going on. But it was, I don't think I would have flunked the class if it would have been like that when I was in high school. So.
Excellent. No, I hope the general consensus is that everyone gets something. I think it's a great opportunity to get in and see these things so that we can be better advocates in the community for the stuff that goes on in our buildings too. So, with that, I think we're going to draw for the next month's assignments.
That's right. So next month will be Washington Elementary. So pick a colored tile. I'll tell you whose name you selected, and that'll be your task between now and mid-December.
I'm going to take number 27.
27.
27.
Jeremy Wilson, first grade.
Oh, you'll have fun with
That's a
them.
good one.
Yeah.
21.
21, April Schweinfurt, kindergarten, the TK program.
Eight.
8, Alexis Finder, K4 Music.
Double up on it. I get all kinds of music there.
Just do one.
19 for Scott.
19 for
I was
Scott.
gonna say just
Scott also will be in kindergarten. Kim Nischel.
18.
18, Lisa Nelson, kindergarten.
I forgot to put
Oh,
back.
my son had her.
I'm sorry, Lisa Nelson?
Yes.
Okay.
So we got kindergarten covered this time.
And who wants to draw for Fallon?
Oh. 23.
23, Sandy Thompson, the counselor. Now, Fallon had Mrs. Rottinghouse.
That's, yeah. Excellent. Okay, we will move on to agenda item 9, as number 8 was tabled, and American Education Week for 2017.
American Education Week kicked off today, November 13th. It runs through Friday the 17th. We have some videos that are being posted each day at our Facebook page, so I thought we would start with a stakeholder perspective video. It's 54 seconds in length, so we'll have Justin cue that up.
I'm involved in a lot of activities, whether it's cross country.
Not sure what video that is, but
Sesame Street.
no, that sounds like Mandarin.
Did you do this in a different language, Justin, for us? Oh, there it is.
It just worked. You just played it a few minutes ago.
That was good.
Yeah.
I am involved in a lot of activities such as cross country, drama and speech, and then I do a lot of choir stuff like barbershop, jazz. I'm starting in the morning from 7 a.m., waking up at 7 a.m. to getting home at around about 9 o'clock, 9:30. And then I have to usually sometime in between there squeeze in my homework and stuff. I feel that my academics have been very good over the years. You can always learn more. There's always so much more that you can learn. Learning, when it comes to learning and trying to figure out new stuff, if you're ever struggling, it wouldn't be a problem to go up to the teacher and be like, hey, I need help with this. Because some students can be timid of the teacher, but if you have a student-teacher bond, it's a lot easier. You're learning new stuff all the time. And then whether it is the same stuff, you're trying to make sure you're getting better at doing that.
So throughout the week, you'll hear, in addition to this overview, you'll hear specifically from a teacher, you'll hear from a support personnel, and also a school board member as we celebrate American Education Week. KCHA is also running a daily podcast, so you can catch that in the morning drive and then over the lunch hour as well. And we just want to take time to pause and celebrate the great work that's taking place in the Charles City schools and in public schools across the country.
Excellent. Thank you for putting all that out there. Like I said, it's just one more way that we were able to push the message out, and a very effective way to push this great message out. So, agenda item 10 is the IASB annual convention, which starts this week.
Starts this week. So we will have 5 board members down in Des Moines taking part in the pre-conference and then the convention as well. So that's Wednesday and Thursday. Fallon and I will be there on Thursday. We've talked about items for delegate assembly that Robin will be taking part in. And so we just want to share with the community that we've got board members in Des Moines. They also will be recognized on Thursday. There are only 6 school boards out of 333 in Iowa where the school board, the majority of the board has earned the Better Boardsmanship Team Award of Achievement. The Charles City Board is one of those 6, so looking forward to that on Thursday as part of the learning opportunity that board members have. And certainly it's the goal again in 2017-18 for our 2 newcomers that the board achieved that this school year as well.
And I think you'd laid out kind of a roadmap for all of us to get there in the ways that we've done it in the past, with different ways to earn credits and things that through mostly education and going through different process of meetings and activities. So.
And in December, we will recap the learning that took place at the school board convention. So, be prepared to take some notes during sessions. And if there's anything you wanted to share with the community before we go, now was just an opportunity to do that.
Absolutely. Excellent. It's always a fun week. Look forward to it every year. So, agenda item 11, certified enrollment.
We have our official numbers. We have 1,501.65 full-time equivalent students, and that is down 11.24 from a year ago. The total number of school-age students that we provide instructional programs and services to is actually 1,510.45, which is down 8.74 from a year ago. Good news is that the number of students open enrolled into Charles City Schools actually has increased from a year ago. We have 36 full-time students that open enroll in, 27 that open enroll out. We also have 6 students who open enroll in on top of that for our homeschool assistance program. They're only weighted at 0.3, so that generates 1.8 additional students for our funding. Our preschool program, and we get 0.5 for each of our preschoolers, also increased in 2017-18. Now the decline in enrollment of 11 students combined with the budget guarantee that we were on last year because we had a declining enrollment situation and the really historically low amounts of state supplemental aid, or excuse me, supplemental state aid, mean that we're going to be on a budget guarantee again this school year. We have had some funding changes. The juvenile court system is not funding our school liaison this year, so that was a loss of $18,000. In the past, we've been able to use Title money to fund part of a teacher for class reduction, and we can't do that this year, so that's $40,000 that will have to come out of the general fund instead of title funding. We also had $175,000 that previously had been PEPAL expenses that have been moved to general fund because of the nature of the work. And so we're looking at some sizable cuts for the spring. I just want to plant that seed with you. It is a combination of seeking out extra revenue in addition to finding ways to cut the budget. But this will play into some of the discussions that we have a little bit later on tonight, in addition to over the course of the next 4 or 5 months.
I'll point out, and if you've had a chance to look through the exhibits or not, when you do get a chance, always the first meeting of the month, one of the last entries in that is a enrollment summary, and it kind of gives a nice snapshot of where we're at from month to month. You can see, from the time we took this count in October till now, we're, showing that we're up 6 students in that amount of time, so that's a positive. But remind me, last year, we ended last year from October to the end of the school year down about 29, right?
29 students.
Yeah. So through the course of the year last year, we were down a net 29 students throughout the school year. And then when we, the enrollment count again on October 1st or 3rd, whatever day it was this year, we show that we're down 11. So it's actually progress from where we ended the year last year.
Right.
We just didn't quite get back to 0, of course, which overcoming a loss of 29 throughout a school year is a pretty big number. So it is tough to see it down again, but it could be a lot worse from where we ended up last year. So and like I said, take a look, and there's a nice breakout of where our students are, what classes, what grade level they go up and down and things on that enrollment summary. So it's a good summary that helps put things in perspective. So move on to agenda item 12, phase 2 timeline.
So we've been, as a board, talking about this for quite some time. The whole process is actually part of the superintendent's evaluation this year and the career development plan. We've had the Citizens Committee that met over the course of February through May. They delivered their report in May as well. There's been work going on by the architects, as evidenced by the redesigned learning environments that we have. Continue to seek input from staff and community through that. So this is an opportunity for the board to give some tentative direction to administration in a more formal context, to work officially with our attorney to start drafting the language that would prepare us for a referendum vote either at the earliest viable date or at some point in 2018.
Comments? I think, Robin?
That's the #1 question that I field.
Yeah.
Is
when are we?
Yeah. I mean, almost in what I do and who I see every week, that's at least 2 or 3 people a week that I'm being asked. People they're ready, they're waiting, they're still listening, which is good.
Right.
We haven't lost their attention, which I think is very encouraging. And then, obviously, we're going to be very budget conscious. We're going to keep it to 1 question. I would like to see that. To keep any tax increases at a bare minimum, but give everything we can and everything we possibly can. Timeline.
We're still working with the architects on the design, and when that gets finalized, we still need teacher input as to how it will look in a finished state. So there's still some work to be done there. But if the board is interested tonight in giving direction to administration to get to that first viable date, we will get working on that as part of this whole process.
And that's generally the message I give when I'm asked is, when, whatever. And, of course I have thoughts or opinions at times, but my message all along has been that by viable, in my opinion, the first viable date is when we've got a product that we're confident that we want to try and, put to a vote. And, people haven't seen a lot of the work that's gone on behind the scenes with the architects and things. And I think that, relatively quickly we'll start to see some of those products be ready to be shared, and that even though it's been quiet for a while, there is a lot of action and activity that has gone on behind the scenes to start this process and to keep it moving along, so.
I think to follow up on part of what Dr. Cox was talking about a plan and going through the vetting process. I guess with this building, it wasn't finished. We didn't know 100% what we were getting until we were done, because there were a lot of changes even through the process. So, you know, even when we get a plan that the majority of people agree on, I don't want to be a naysayer, but even after a vote is passed, there may be changes depending on how things, you know, pan out with staff and faculty and everything. So for me to say that we would come up with a design or a floor plan and say that that is it, I don't think that's realistic. I think it's a common of what it would be, but details would be worked out later. So I just want to throw that out there. I also get asked on a regular basis how soon before we move forward with this project, and I would say that we need to kick it up a notch or two and get it moving sooner than later.
Is there a motion or any tonight?
The other, I just want to
Or
say a little bit
additional
after
comments,
Scott,
yeah.
just a little bit off of what Scott said too, because I know that we have the classrooms and to follow through like what Scott said too. I don't know if it's that we have to have all of that completely in place.
Right.
As long as we know the majors, you know, what are we doing the auditorium? Are we doing the kitchen? Are we doing, what's the basic footprint? How this configuration happens within that, I don't think needs to be, I don't want to delay the process indefinitely to the point that it becomes your next year's goal also, in continuation. I would like to see us go to the nearest available date, or that we feel comfortable with what we have to present and we're willing to show people what we have and convince them that we know we have their best interest and this community's best interest at heart. So with that, more comments? I'll make a motion to direct Dr. Cox to take all necessary action to work with legal counsel to proceed with the earliest possible 2018 election date.
Second.
A motion and seconded to direct Dr. Cox to take all necessary action to work with legal counsel to proceed to the earliest possible 2018 election date. Any further comments or questions? Roll call vote, please, Sherry.
Mack,
Yes.
Maycumber,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Freund,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 13 is early retirement policy.
So we have had an early retirement policy 18 of the last 20 years, and we've talked about this each of the last 5 years, at wanting to get away from an every year policy for the obvious reason that it's not an incentive if it's just offered every year. Certainly given the financial picture that I kind of shared with you 10 minutes ago, it would behoove us to have some sort of early retirement incentive in place. And so this is an opportunity for the board to discuss if it would be just licensed staff, if it would be support staff as well, but finding ways to provide an incentive to have some higher paid staff, you know, move to the next phase of their work life or just go into enjoy retirement, and either not replace some of those positions or replace them with less veteran staff members to realize some savings instead of going through the process of making staffing cuts in the spring, or to lessen the number of cuts that would need to be made. So,
I always look at this early retirement incentive a little bit like a safety net. We're the tightrope walkers, and we keep trying to walk across the rope without the safety net because it makes it, we know we're gonna have cuts, so we know we're gonna fall, but it cushions the fall.
right.
So someday we're going to get across that wire without it. Mark my word. So I guess knowing that, because, you know, I sat here a few years ago and we were looking at $800,000 worth of cuts and in a room full of parents and students and everything and making the hard choices. And this is something that's a positive. That was all negative, you know, and those cuts are all negative. And this is on a positive note. If we can offer teachers this and, yeah.
I agree. It's I've been one every year to say, boy, if we can avoid doing it, I would like to avoid doing it. You know, when we really need it. Again, I think the precedence we've set of offering it every year and offering the same package nearly, virtually every year, the incentive is gone for that. And when we really need it, it's more difficult to, I think, get takers on it, I guess. It is the least painful way of addressing big numbers in budget cuts. You know, in the 3 or 4 years that I've been involved in budget cuts, and we've had some big ones, 800,000, 300,000+ in the first 2 years that I was on the board. And again, those roomfuls of folks whose program you're considering cutting, who so passionately support those programs. This is the positive that it's, hey, we can work to do it. It also comes at a cost, and that not necessarily just the financial cost, but the loss of that staff experience. We do experience that every year. With losing our most veteran staff, which is a gap that we have to fill efficiently too. So, but I look at this as knowing that we face a large number this year again for budget cuts, that perhaps this is the time to be aggressive and to try to make one big push to get, to address as much of that cut as possible through this process, to hopefully avoid those other extremely painful decisions of elimination of positions and different things where we don't have willing participants to vacate those positions. So my opinion would be to explore every option that we have in this, and to aggressively do so, I guess, is the way I would term it. So.
And in regards to support staff, I guess that would be, I would leave that to administration to determine where the benefits would be there. If we see potential benefit there, then I guess I would be very supportive of offering that also to the support staff.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Additional thoughts? Mm-hmm. Excellent.
What are we thinking about? Suggesting a dollar amount for a policy to come back, or
just interested in knowing if you want us to come back with a similar amount, an aggressive approach,
or to come back with a couple options approach to consider in December.
Or if you want to see a couple options.
So one of the questions I would have is how many people are eligible for this?
There are 19 certified staff, and
10 or?
I say 10 or 12 support staff.
So maybe 30 people would be eligible, roughly, if we did both categories.
If you did both categories, yeah.
Okay.
I would say an aggressive amount, more aggressive than we've been in the past.
Or creative, yeah.
Creative.
Yeah.
Creative would be, because we have, I know some of the list I know, and they have those people that are on this list that have also been eligible in years past, and they haven't taken it. So maybe some creativity would be additional incentive for them.
Excellent.
And the thing you have to remember, though, is this isn't general fund money.
Right.
Comes out of the management fund, right, Terry?
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where it saves on the general fund with the turnover dollars.
So any official action to direct the administration, or just move on?
I think we should direct the administration to review the options for early retirement and come up with an incentivized plan to enhance the opportunity for staff to retire. And we'd like to see both options, one with the support staff and then with the teachers.
Yep. call that a motion?
Was
Is
that a
there-
motion? I'll second it.
He's got it.
Motion and second to direct the administration to provide some options for early retirement incentives. Any additional comments or questions? Roll call vote, please, Sarah.
Maycumber,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Freund,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 14 is the second November board meeting.
I will be out of the district on the 27th. We've tried to move as much as we could to tonight, and then things that could be moved to December, we tentatively moved to December. And so this is an option for you to say if you want to skip the second meeting on the 27th, or go ahead and hold it in my absence.
Move to cancel the November 27th board meeting.
I'll second.
Motion and second to cancel the November 27th board meeting. Roll call vote, please.
Dyke,
Yes.
Freund,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Maycumber,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Never pass that opportunity. Agenda item 15, November listening post.
Yeah, our strategic plan calls for 4 board listening posts each year. And there are opportunities for the public to come and interact with board members in an informal setting, ask questions. There's no action taken, but we would have at least 4 or potentially all 5 board members present. So on Saturday, November 18th at Dave's, the board will be there from 9 to 10 a.m., or that's a recommendation, unless you want to alter that.
So we started this last year. We did one this summer, maybe I think it was, and we held that in at Hy-Vee in the cafeteria there in the morning. This is something I kind of maybe pushed for, and I think we've all kind of thought about in the past, that is an opportunity to just get out in an informal setting. You see, we get virtually no visitors anymore at our meetings most times, so it's really, you know, in my opinion, a good opportunity to get out and seek them out in their environment to get as much feedback as possible and just to kind of hear some things. We didn't get a huge response at Hy-Vee, but there was great conversation with a number of the people that did show up. So this was another thing, I guess, that I enjoy doing and getting out and hearing the concerns and that from the public. So time-wise, that time's fine with me. I know I have basketball at 10 o'clock for my 4th graders. So if we leave it at that time, I'll probably leave 5-10 minutes early. If you wanted to move it up, that's fine too, but whatever works for the majority.
I won't be able to make it. We've had a family
Okay.
member that we're going to have to travel.
Okay. So
That will work.
9 to 10 is fine for you? Okay.
9 to 10 is fine.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Is there a motion to set the
Is there
Move to set the listening post for Saturday, November 18th at Dave's Restaurant from 9 to 10 a.m.
I'll second.
motion and second to set the listening post date for November 18th at Dave's Restaurant from 9 to 10? Roll call vote, please.
Freund,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Maycumber,
yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. And agenda item 16 is the December board meeting.
I'd make a motion to move the December board meeting from December 11th to December 13th
At 6 p.m.
at 6 p.m.
I'll second that.
Motion and second to move the December board meeting to Wednesday, December 13th at 6 p.m. Any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mack,
Yes.
Maycumber,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Freund,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 17, results of the union recertification votes.
Yeah, this is an information item for the board. We actually have 3 unions. We have the Charles City Community Education Association, that's the teachers. Then we have 2 support staff ones, a blue collar and a support. The support is the instructional assistants, the blue collar would be everybody else. And they held recertification elections in October, and a majority of the employees in each of the 3 unions voted in favor of retaining and recertifying the ISCA as their exclusive bargaining representative.
Excellent. Okay. Agenda item 18 is vendor payments.
Mrs. O'Brien.
There is a new auditor requirement, state auditor requirement, that we have a separate bank account set up for payment items that the vendor actually pulls money from the account versus us writing a check or pushing money through going to their website and making a payment. So in these cases, this is a state auditor recommendation. We did get an oral comment on our audit report that we do this. It won't be in the report since it's a new something and all schools are trying to comply right now. So this request is to set up this new bank account for these pull payment items to be paid from.
Terry, I just have one question. Do we initiate them to do that pull payment in some way?
We do, like, say, for school pay, this is one vendor that's what they require. When we contracted with them or we purchased their software, this was something they said this is what we do to make payment. I
Okay.
asked them and they don't like payment any other way, so.
Great, thank you.
Good. Is there a motion? or
I'll
any
make a
addition?
motion to approve the addition of a new bank account at CUS Bank for accounts payable, hold payment account as recommended.
No
Second.
Motion is second to approve the addition of a new bank account at CUS Bank. Any additional comments, questions? Roll call vote, please, sir.
Maycumber,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Freund,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 19 is the 2018 Summer Facilities Projects. I think if you remember the last meeting, we approved a list of projects and we had noted that there was a balance of money left between what was approved and what the annual budget allows for. So this is just basically an update as to additional projects that Jerry had deemed to be worthy of working towards and coming out of that budget.
It's a nice list of projects.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that we've, you can tell our buildings are maintained well now,
Mhm.
because there's things that are a little bit on the amenity, on the,
In the grading
yeah,
almost.
yeah, that are nice, they're gonna be nice to have, that we've been waiting for.
Yep.
Good job on that.
Excellent.
Move to approve the additional 2018 summer facility projects totaling $81,000 as recommended.
I'll second that.
Motion is second to approve the additional 2018 summer facilities projects. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Dyke,
Yes.
Freund,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Maycumber.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 20 is the Floyd County Medical Center Memorandum of Understanding.
Floyd County Medical Center is updating their memoranda of understanding with us. It had been 10 years since they had last done that, so Jefferson was still listed as an alternate site for them.
Good luck with that.
So updated it to reflect Washington and the North Grand Building. And so tonight it's the memorandum, and then in December we'll have a business associate agreement for the board to consider.
I'll make a motion to approve the Floyd County Medical Center Memorandum of Understanding for off-site facility location as recommended.
I'll second that.
The motion is second to approve the Floyd County Medical Center MOU for off-site facility location as recommended. Roll call vote, please.
Freund,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Maycumber.
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 21, the Transportation Center Cost Analysis. So, Brian.
Our actual costs for the Transportation Center project came in at $1,286,236, which was $39,261 over budget. Really, that came in two areas, the reason for us being over budget. We did include 3 change orders, and the majority of those change orders, one was coring out and replacing 200 yards of soil and installing 6-inch perforated drain tile in the pavement area on the south side of the maintenance building due to wet soil conditions. If you remember that one, that was almost 12,000. And then there was another one where we added downspout storm sewer systems to all 3 buildings, which was 14,500. So that's a good chunk of the change orders. Then we also were over budget in our architect fees, but that was because we ended up approving alternate 1, which wasn't included in their original bid on the project. So they added the 20,871 for architect fees associated with the alternate 1, which that was the 2 pole buildings.
Big items.
The project
Yep.
as a whole, as opposed to doing it in phases, is what
Right.
basically,
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Which I'm so very appreciative, and I know everyone that I've talked to is too, that we did that as a whole project as opposed to step project. Because I think this number would have been much higher if we would have done something like that, because whenever you finish a project and you have to
Yeah.
If we'd
reopen
have
things
phased it
again.
in, yeah, we'd have spent.
Especially
more
when you,
money.
even with the storm sewer things and the soil drainage and that would have all messed, we would have had to undo some of that stuff we had already done. So
Yeah.
I think we've probably well saved more than the 39,000 that we were over in having done those projects together.
See, they've got a lot of the finished grading work and must be seating and stuff done too there, so that looks
Yeah.
really, really nice. Hopefully fill in with some nice grass then next year.
And material costs, oh, let's not forget material costs, how they're going up
Yeah.
crazily right now.
Yep,
Yeah.
so. But any additional comments or questions for Terry? Okay. Move on to agenda item 22, the financial report for October of 2017.
As I referred to earlier, we completed our audit in October. We only had 2 oral comments and there were no written comments, so we did well with our audit. The report won't be ready until January. They have to finish up tying and go through several reviews before the report will be ready. Also, just make a comment, I did add fund number 35, which was to capture our athletic complex funding as it comes in. So each month, when a donation might come in, I will add this, we'll add the same amount of in-kind match up to 500,000 that the board approved at a
Awesome.
earlier meeting.
Excellent. Excellent. Any additional comments or questions for Ms. O'Brien? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to accept the October 2017 financial report as presented. Thank you, Terry.
I'll second.
A motion and a second to accept the October 2017 financial reports. Any additional comments or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mack,
Yes.
Maycumber,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Freund,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 23 is the consideration of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as amended. Roll call vote, please.
Maycumber,
Yes.
Dyke,
Yes.
Freund,
Yes.
Mack,
Yes.
Walker.
I will abstain, as my name is listed on it.
As a volunteer.
Good.
Motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention. Agenda item 25 is important upcoming dates.
Again, school board convention this week, the listening post on Saturday at Dave's at 9 a.m. November 22nd is a vacation day. It is the first makeup day if there is a missed day of school between now and then. Right now, the weather outlook is good, upper 30s to low 40s. I know I'm jinxing it, but we're not anticipating being at school on the 22nd. Thanksgiving holiday, the 23rd, 24th, and we will be back here December 13th, TQ meeting on December 4th.
Excellent.
December 13th.
Agenda item 26 is consideration of closed session, in which I believe we need to wait until 7.
Yeah, we need to wait until 7.
So declare a short recess until 7 p.m.